I believe, like many of my other LSD advocate friends, that the world would be a better place if at least all the people that voted took LSD. It's the world's strongest medicine. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't do what I do. It's really the 11th cent hit of acid that saved my sorry ass. I've noticed similarities between the 15th century Renaissance and the LSD Renaissance. And my argument is that LSD is the Renaissance pill, The first good images on blotter, I reacted as a numismatist or a philatelist and started keeping examples. Problem is, at that point, I was keeping them in my freezer. And I noticed that trying to keep them in your freezer doesn't work because you keep eating them and they disappear. To safeguard them, I started framing them, and that would make it impossible for me to snarf them. I had 5 of them framed. After a while, I realized that the adding up of these 5 images was a much bigger picture than the summation of its parts. It's called the Institute of Illegal Images because when I started collecting them, it was illegal to collect them, and you're collecting LSD, and that's considered a crime by the law system. A law we never voted on, one created by a bunch of people afraid of trying it, And, the most terrible things about LSD are written or created by people who haven't tried it, because if you tried it, you know that all that's a bunch of bullshit, Artists are supposed to have some problems with their society. It's just a natural thing, because the artist is trying to point out a part of the society that has remained invisible to the rest of the group, And so you've got to expect tension with your society. When I put up the first blotter show, I knew this is trouble, The FBI was there asking me for permission to photograph the work. And I told them, absolutely, the show's more for you guys than for us. We're already converted. You're the last horse to come to the party. Who doesn't conspire to make a better world, You can't put any creative person in a room with another person and not have a conspiracy. You will conspire anytime you meet another person. I have many, many signed Albert Hofmann things. I had been writing them for many years and sending them blotter, and as a thank you, he sent me this little book. I was about to go to trial when that book arrived, and it gave me a lot of hope. Just a sweet guy. Blotter is really just a type of art form. It's not different than being a sculptor or a painter. I did it out of necessity, the mother of invention. Because I wanted to make my own blotter and put my own paintings on the blotter. The better they are, the less visible they are because they get eaten, you know. And so then a lot of the great blotter is no longer with us because it all got eaten. A strong difference on the other art, which is best preserved, you know. So, you know, the image on the blotter can come from anybody. For example, the Mr. Bills, seen up there. Mr. Bill was Saturday Night's Live featured little cartoon at the time, except that in this case, they're referring to the chemist itself that made the acid, whose name was also Bill, and I guess prone to accidents. Sometimes it's an insider joke like that. Sometimes it's the chemist himself comes up with the mad scientist type of vision and asks the company to put it on the blotter. The two most industrious and famous blotter artists that came out of Electric Buddha's outfit here in San Francisco have a huge repertoire of imagery. Forrester's First, for example, is the red and black sheets there. Some of the earliest ones were on actual blotter paper. The symbol itself is addressing a very serious topic, one that is always included in an LSD trip, and that's your ultimate death, your arrival on your dying moment. The death of ego associates its death with the death of your physicality, and you eventually have to deal with that while you're on acid. You know. The transformation is so profound, you know, it's like a rebirth, actual rebirth, you know, you're born into a new situation and a new persona, but it's not, it's just you and a newfound insight. You know, it's all sci-fi, really, the truth being stranger than the fiction. Your sensitivity comes from not just the beauty, but the oppressed, you know. You see both things more intensely. The injustice along with the beauty of the reality. So that's what it's about. That's why people look for LSD. People look for the LSD thinking that it's going to be the relief of many of their ailments, when in fact it's the addressing of their ailments, you know. So it really is about, you know, every little corner of your persona and finding where the dust is collected and obfuscated your vision and cleaning it up and sweeping it out. Well, some people end up institutionalized, and so then that can't really be a positive step in their lives, you know. And there's some need to address that. Since the LSD is going to accentuate everything, it's going to accentuate your problems. Most of my schizophrenic friends didn't know they were schizophrenic till they took LSD. And the LSD, if you're schizophrenic, the first thing it tells you, hey, you know you're schizophrenic. But that doesn't mean you have to, you know, fall victim to your schizophrenia. It just points it out to you, and then you're more capable of dealing with it. The enlightenment that every person seeks won't be
promoted or helped along by their church, which is a tragic, tragic thing.
So had the hosts worked, I would be collecting and framing hosts. Because I'm a Roman Catholic, I took the host of my first communion, realizing then that something had gone terribly wrong. I had a friend with me, and when the first host didn't work, he got in line again and took another one, thinking he'd got the wrong. Yeah. That didn't work either. They had replaced the host with a placebo. Man's search for a host in the sense of a communion with the electromagnetic makings of them. We'll always be interested in addressing that, and the best way to address metaphysics and the supernatural is very obviously LSD. The U.S. has had a huge reawakening in the last 5 years because of their ability to access a new material to make it from. We notice that those that have tripped have a language different than those that have not tripped. And so then through the use of language itself, you can tell who's tripped and who hasn't. And that makes a community. The knowledge brings you together, not the desire to make a club. And so, you feel closer to those that have tripped than those that have not tripped. And you wish that at some point everybody would trip. Many times I've tripped, and not enough, That's the ultimate trip. And you don't need any more LSD when you're dead. It can prepare you for death, but when you're dead, you don't need any more. You're lit up.